weren't looking for anything before. She slipped and fell and fractured her skull against the rocks. Now they may discover it wasn't the fall that killed her.
They can't prove anything.
No. Once they start asking questions, That's why I went to the city. I had to make sure that I hadn't overlooked anything in the apartment. Why didn't I report it in the first place? Why did I let you talk me into it? If it weren't for that Stewart girl, if they start asking questions and find her...
Maybe they won't find her. We've taken care of everything else so far. If we have to, we'll take care of her, too. And you're not helping matters acting this way.
If a man wanted to, if he had courage, he could get rid of her and no one would ever know. Doctor has an advantage. I could give her insulin shock treatment. Shock treatment's indicated in a case like hers. I could give her 4 injections. Then with the last one, an overdose. No one would ever know the difference.
Then we'd be safe. No matter what the district attorney's office found, we'd be safe. They'd have nothing on us, Richard. We could get married then. You'd be yourself again, Richard. We'd find peace and quiet here, just the two of us.
You don't think I'd do it, do you?
Why not? Is her life more important than ours?
I've had enough. Look, Elaine, I can't go on like this. Things keep piling up. First it was Margaret, and then tricking that child so that she'd forget. Then convincing her that she was insane. There's a limit beyond which even I can't go.
Richard, remember the first night I came here? Remember? You were alone. We were sitting here in front of the fireplace with a sick headache. The lights were out. You didn't hear me when I knocked, and I opened the door, and you said, "Oh, it's you, Miss Jordan." You called me Miss Jordan then, remember? I told you I had to see you about Mrs. Penny's prescription. You talked to me, and you saw that I was tired, and you asked me if I wouldn't have a drink. I hesitated, and you said, "I won't bite your head off, Miss Jordan." We had a drink. Remember? You sat here for a long time, and then suddenly you laughed when you said your headache was gone. And you asked me about my family, and I told you. And we both laughed. Remember? Then you took me in your arms. I know you remember that.
I won't do it, Elaine. I won't do it. Just a minute, I'm coming.
Hello, Doctor.
Come in.
I hope you hadn't gone to bed.
No.
They told me at the hospital I'd find you here.
I didn't expect to see you so soon, Mr. O'Neill. I thought you'd phone me if there were any developments.
I had to serve the papers.
Oh, yes?
Coroner's inquest subpoena. Now it's legal.
What did the coroner find?
Your wife was murdered, Doctor.
Oh? Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Sit down, Mr. O'Neill.
She was beaten over the head, suffered an explosive fracture. Death was practically instantaneous.
This prowler you told me about, you think he did it?
Seems so. He clubbed Mrs. Harwood. Your wife went out the same way. A pattern. Killers usually follow a pattern.
You don't know how she was killed? I mean, the weapon?
She was struck with a candlestick.
A candlestick? Are you sure?
A heavy silver one.
How can you know?
Microscope. There were particles of silver in the wound. They told us it was a silver object. There were bits of wax mixed in with the silver. They told us it was a candlestick. Must have been a heavy candlestick to have done the damage. Just routine, Doctor.
A criminal doesn't have much of a chance these days, does he?
No, sir. By the way, do you have any silver candlesticks at the lodge?
We might have.
I'd like your permission to go through the house. The murderer may have left the candlestick behind, in which case we'll get fingerprints. If he got rid of the weapon, we may be able to find the mate. Then we'll know what to look for.
Of course, go right ahead.
Thanks. Now, if we can find the candlestick, our troubles are over. By the way, when did you see Mrs. Cross last? Alive, I mean.
Oh, a couple of weeks before she was killed. Why?
Can you place it a little more definitely?
I think so. Things had been piling up around here, and I needed a change. So I drove down to Point Lobos on a Friday night.
Anyone see you?
I don't think so. Why?
We're trying to fix the exact time of her death.
Well, I'm not sure anyone saw me. I drove down there on Friday night, left there around 9:30 Saturday night.
Well, it's not too important.
Naturally, I want to do everything I can to help you, Mr. O'Neill. If I think of anything, I'll get in touch with you.
Thanks. Sorry to bother you so late.
That's all right.
See you at the inquest. Good night, Doctor.
Good night.
Sickness and in health, and forsaking all others, keep only unto her, so long as ye both shall live.
I will.
What's the matter, Richard? You haven't been yourself lately. Something on your mind? Darling, what's happening with us? Richard, I must speak to you. People are talking about you and that nurse, Miss Jordan. How do you like my hair, Richard? Of course, I've had it dyed. Everyone says it makes me look years younger.
I could give her 4 injections. Then with the last one, an overdose.
Then we'd be safe. No matter what the district attorney's office found, we'd be safe.
Get me Lieutenant Stewart, please. Treatment itself consists of a series of shocks brought on by injections of insulin. The dosage and the degree of shock is gradually increased until we've reached what we feel is the limit the patient's system can stand.
Well, if you do give Janet this insulin, how certain can you be that it'll help her?
I'm neither a miracle man nor a prophet, Lieutenant. If medicine were an exact science and not an art, I might be able to tell you.
But you think there's a chance?
Yes, I do.
I have seen it work in the Army. All right, Doctor, go ahead and try it.
Fine. We'll begin the treatment tomorrow morning.